Já tá bem, já?
Oi.
Já.
Oi. Pessoal, hello guys. Sorry for interrupting you guys. Thank you for coming again. See some old faces, new faces. So I'm Fabio, Luis, Filipa, all the people that are organizing the Frontend.OPO here. Thank you. Yeah, João, that's welcoming people. Thank you for coming. It's really cool to see everyone here having a great time. We're going to have like some knowledge share, and later a little bit of time for networking, right? Yeah, that's the word. So today we're going to say thank you for the Porto Tech Hub for helping us to organize this one. And I will let Denise talk a little bit about Porto Tech Hub for who knows and for who doesn't know.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. This is our 7th meetup of the year. Porto Tech Hub, for those who don't know, first of all, who knows Porto Tech Hub? Put your hands in here. Okay, a lot of people. Nice. So Porto Tech Hub was born 10 years ago by Bleep, Farfetch, and Critical Software. We are a non-profit association, and our main goal is to promote the city and the region of Porto as a technological hub, as our name says. Today we are represented by me. I'm part of the team, Isabel and Rafael in the background, and an applause to them. Yeah, so basically what we do, we promote the city, we want to attract people, attract companies, we want to share knowledge, and we do that through our conference that we organize every year in Alfândega, here in Porto, also from the program Switch, which is a reskilling and upskilling program in ISEP. We have meetups, we have a podcast, we have a lot of activities throughout the year, and I will ask you, Luis. And we have here a little surprise. So I don't know if you heard about, but our conference is this year is on 7 October, and we left here a discount code. You can buy our tickets by scanning the QR code if you are interested. If you just want to learn more about us, you can visit the website also.
Yeah, please use our code
yes.
to show Denise that we're the
of course yes.
community.
And Luis wins a commission, so for each code.
It's not true.
I'm kidding.
It's not true. I hope so, but
so you have 40% off, so you can be there. It's 7 October again, Alfândega. Please tell me if the QR code is working. Yes. If not, at the end you can ask. You can come to us and ask things about us. And yeah, that's it. Thank you, Frontend, again for setting this invitation. And nice meetup. The stage is yours.
thank you. I will ask a second for you guys because I need to share my screen to the stream. So I will use this moment to say to everyone that we have an Instagram and also a YouTube channel. So if you want to check the talks that we have today and the other editions, feel free to go to our YouTube channel.
Yeah, meanwhile, I can tell a joke.
No, don't do this.
No, but what I'm going to say is I think it's like our 7th meetup right now. It's been like a trio. We're being for 6 months in a hiatus or something, but we want to come again with more meetups to see. It's the first one that we do in the summer, so we already talked with other companies in the past that they say the summer is people doesn't come, so it's great to see you guys here, that people would like to talk about tech in the summer. So let's share a little bit and have a great time. So yeah, and so Luis will give our first talk today. Yeah. So the stage is yours, Luis.
Yeah,
good luck.
Again. The internet's very bad. Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay. So, Filipa, could you enter in the WhatsApp and open the Google Meet, please? Great. Sorry for this, guys. We're not like influencers or streamers. I hope so, because it's his job, but I think that's not. So, thank you for coming. Thank you, Philippe. Welcome. Thanks for Porto Tech Hub for having us today. It's very important to have people and companies and organizations helping the communities to do our job. It's a totally volunteer job, so it's pretty hard without help, so thank you guys. And so today I'm going to present to you guys a state of routing in React. This is my social media where you can find me in the important ones like LinkedIn and GitHub only. And I'm Luis. I'm senior software engineer at Liminal. We are an American startup that work with data. If you want to know more about search on Google or in LinkedIn, and we have opening positions. So if you are a senior front-end, mid-level, or even a back-end, or product manager, we have several open roles. So feel free to go in LinkedIn and apply, or reach me in the end of the event. I'm organizer of this beautiful meetup. It's a very tough job, and I'm also a very good player at GeoGuessr. So if someone wants to challenge me and lose after this, feel free to reach me out. We schedule something, and yeah. So routing. I think this is the most obvious keyword for this presentation, right? But even if you are a beginner or a student or a backend developer, I think you have an idea of what is routing in a front-end app. You have a URL, and it should point to something or to somewhere, right? And love it or hate it, this is very important for the user experience of our website. It's the backbone of our web apps. And because of this, it has evolved a lot, just like web development. And to better understand the current state of the routing, we need to look backwards. And back in the day, we have MPAs, the multi-page architecture. I don't know if you were born in that time, it consists in, if you weren't born in that time, it consists in, each route is an HTML file. So when the user navigates in the application, each navigation is a completely new process in the server and attach the whole HTML into the HTTP response. This is pretty straightforward, right? So if you want to know where is the about, you can see the about.html file. But it's very bad in web performance because, as I said, you're doing all the job in each interaction. So MPAs, it's slow. MPAs are blamed by that weird white flashes and annoying that we had back in the time, like 20 years ago. But the web modernized it, right? And because of this, the necessity of hop between pages without these heavy loadings and the spinners all around and that white flashes that I've mentioned appeared, and also SPA has appeared as well. But I'm not talking about React, right? Or Svelte, or Angular, or Vue, or Solid, or whatever other framework that we have today. Sorry. I'm talking about Backbone.js. So Backbone.js Backbone.js gave us a very declarative way of doing routing in SPAs. It wasn't so powerful like what we have today, but it was revolutionary if you compare with the MPA stuff, because now we can declare our routes inside a JavaScript object and point to JS functions and choose what we want to render literally in an object. So very cool. And also a very fun dinosaur, AngularJS. And this one is a little bit controversial because with AngularJS, it came the strange template and controller in that time pattern that now it's component in the new Angular. But it was also, they also use the router to declare this new pattern. So this route provider, it's where you point the route to the correspond template and controller. Awesome. But now I think everyone here agreed that React dominated the market, right? I don't know if someone disagree. But back in the day, where React has becoming adopted, Ryan Florence and Michael Jackson, yeah, you can laugh now, nice guy, realized that React is good at building UI components. React is good at state management, I guess. But React's a library, right? Yeah, it's a library. And React doesn't provide a route solution within. So let's create another library to do this job. In 2014, React Router released a brand new way of doing routing. Using this incredible JSX syntax, you can to deal with nested routes and also declare curl params and so on and so forth. I think you guys know this very well, but 2 years later, they decided to rewrite the 3 years, sorry. 3 years later, they decided to rewrite the whole library to adopt new concepts and incentivize the people to rethink how we did the routing in React. And obviously, the community hated it because it was a huge breaking change. Because back in the 3 first versions of React Router, we had like one huge config file to declare your routes, and then you use a very strict way of doing that. And in the V4, they decided, you know what? You can declare your routes anywhere you want in your component 3 and so on and so forth. So it was a huge breaking change. And because of this, other alternatives has appeared to try to compete with React Router, but it doesn't go well. But okay, 2 years later, they learned their lesson. In the V5, it was a small major release that they released the hooks. I don't know if you probably use the React Router hooks like use history, use params, and use location. And last but not least, the TypeScript support. A little bit late, but it's still very important. And in 2021, React Router released the version 6 with a push into optimizations into the code that they already have. So they released optimizations on performance, on the rendering of the routes, and so on. They replaced some things like the use navigate for the user history. And in the version 6.4, React Router released experimental data loading APIs. And someone know why? Because React Router and Remix always walked side by side. Have you heard about the Remix history? It's very interesting. So, Remix has started as a paid template for server rendering your React and React Router app. Then they moved to a framework per se, but you had to pay a license for. And then they moved to an open source framework like Next.js. And then finally, it has been merged to React Router. We will need to face another huge breaking change. Yeah, but don't worry, my angry Reddit friend. I think everyone who uses Reddit is angry. Not like Twitter, but in a middle term, right? React Router just integrated some cool features from Remix. Remix was a framework like Next.js. That's the starting point if you doesn't know Remix. And they integrate cool features in the React Router, like the data loaders, as I mentioned on the 6.4, but also server-side rendering, boilerplating, and so on. And they did that only by mixing the React Router with a Vite boilerplate with TypeScript. But React Router now is a framework. I cannot use it in my simple create React app that has 3 years. Not exactly. So the good part of this push is that you can choose, right? If you want to go with a framework like Next.js, we have a lot of these, right? SvelteKit, Astro, TenStack, Start, etc. You can go with the framework mode. Like if you want server-side rendering, all the stuff, opinionative, blah, blah. But the cool part is this. You can stay in the middle point. You can use the cool data loading features and still with your simple client-side React with TypeScript and so on. This is very good. And also, if you don't want this and proceed just with the polishment that they did on the version 7 and stay just like V6, they also did this option. And I think this is amazing, right? Yeah, let's talk about that. So, Next.js has been the most used framework in React, right? And part of the success is because Vercel injects a lot of money to people use it. No, I'm just kidding, or not. It's because the routing solution of React.js is very good. And it's good because you don't have a config file. You don't have the headaches trying to do your routing in the best way. Next.js core do this for you based in your file, your static file organization. So you have a file, you have a route. It's amazing, right? Yeah, and also if you want a shared wrapper, you have a layout. So it's very good. Yeah, I agree, but this is not perfect. And don't get me wrong, I'm not here to complaining about Next.js features. I like Next.js, but I can think on two major issues with this guy here. The first one is you're leaving the whole control of your routing to the framework core. So remember, as I said, the routing is the backbone of your application, and you don't have control of it at all. And also, Next.js has a problem with type safety inside the routings because TypeScript doesn't understand files, right? To TypeScript understand something, you need to import it to the file, and Next.js doesn't have a solution for it. I know it has third-party alternatives for this. Where is it? My slides stopped working. Oh no. Okay. Yeah, I'm not good at memes, right? So sorry. My slides are not working properly. Why? Sorry, guys. Okay, we're back. Sorry to make you guys face this for a long. But about the third-party alternatives, I know, but it's a third-party, right? We have 10-stack router that has it built in. 10-stack router literally has a code gen script that runs in parallel with your dev server that provides this type safety for you through a route tree generated file that listens to your changes and new routes and so on and so forth. That will help you with this type safe. It also has features like the data loading, the search param validation. But for me, the most important thing in the 10-stack router is it's not a framework, right? It has some code that it's like the 10-stack start, that it's actually a framework, but it's not a framework. So you can integrate this library in whatever app that you have in React, almost every app. So I know that you're very curious about this. I know you guys are excited to see how 10-stack router and new React router stuff works. So let's go to the demo time. I have just to say that our demo is this app. It's a very simple app. It's like a Hacker News clone that in the three first tabs, I'm calling the Hacker News API, and the static stories tab, I'm pulling from mock data to show you guys how each alternative works with complex nested routes and so on. So I have three apps, two using the React Router framework mode, and now in another one running with the data mode, and the 10-stack start with file-based routing. They has a way to do routing by like object-based, but they don't recommend it also. That's why I didn't. So you see a flash here because I will change the display for extend to mirroring. So let's do this. Okay. Nice. So let's see. Great. That's our three apps here. So let's start with React Router. So this is the data mode. This is the framework mode. Each data call that I'm doing here on the framework mode, I'm using server-side rendering with loaders to get the information. So this route, when I'm clicking it, it's doing the data calling in the server and then send this information to the client. And here on the data mode, I'm doing the calling in the client, but before the route has been rendered using the data loading APIs. And I will show this to you guys and why is it cool. So now there's a spoiler. So first things first, here on the data mode, you still have to configure to have this huge and complex declaration inside your code. So it's a little bit complicated because you have to handle that very well. But you can see that we can declare the routes. We can say, oh, this is my child. This is the child. This is the component that I want to render. This is the layout, and so on and so forth. And that's there where we declare the loaders on the data mode. So, for example, I want to fetch this stuff before the top stores component being rendered. So I'm doing that here. We can obviously code split in this stuff, but I did that a lack of time. But in the loader, we can do this to grab this information, and in the component itself, the data that we get from the API will behave just like a static data, and this is very good. We also can give like fallbacks for the user not being stared with the loading, but it's very good. For example, here on the comments, we can see that the comment here, it came comment. We're doing all this processment before the route, the page has been loaded. The route itself rendered the page, and then inside the page we can get it with the use params. This is not the best example. Sorry. Sorry. The top stories here. So using this use loader data, you can see that we don't have a loader here, right? We're getting the data just like a static data from an object using this use loader data. And in the framework mode, you can see that the routing is very more simpler because it's a framework, it's a framework, right? So just like Next.js, inside our component, the framework will understand what we're exporting from each route, and then they will attach this in the framework core. So we don't need to handle this. So for example, in the comments, here I have this meta tag just exporting. I'm not importing anywhere else because the framework will do this to me. The loader function as well doing this job, and then the component here. And I can show the top stories as well. So I have the loader, I export the loader, I get the loader data here on the stories. And another cool thing, React Router in the framework mode, it provides type safety. You can see here that is like a generate file by the React Router, but it's through a script that you need to run every time you're changing stuff. So let's jump to the big thing here. So Thanks Tech Router do the things in a little bit different way, in my opinion, a very good way. So we have the main here, and this is file based, right? So each file inside my route will be a route. I obviously can skip files by adding an underscore or other prefix, but this is the starting point. And here, I can grab the top component, as I showed to you, that for each route, I do this thing, create file route, a little bit similar to what we have in the framework mode, and we have the loaders as well. But the cool part here is I'm not importing anything. I'm just with my server rendering, my server running here. And if I change here for a file that doesn't exist, it changes automatically. So I cannot burn my routing. You know, if you were with your server running, it's impossible. So I will try it again, and then it changes automatically. So it's impossible to declare a route that actually doesn't exist inside our route tree. And also another cool thing that this avoids a lot of that runtime errors that we have in Next.js, that we're pointing or navigate to a route that has some misspellings or just doesn't exist. That is, if I came here at my navigation, we can see that I'm declaring the routes here, and then, I'm mapping into it and using the link just like we have in Next.js and React Router and so on. I'm passing this here, and in this way, it's unprotected, right? So if I change it here, it will break the app. But just because it's not a problem with the framework, it's a problem with me because I'm not doing the things in the right way. I'm not declaring my object that is a read-only object as read-only. So if I do as const here and came in the href and try to mess with this, the link will say, oops, no, I'm not want to join this. Why you're doing this? You can see that there's the TypeScript is saying, hey bro, you're doing shit here. This route doesn't exist, and if you push this code, it will burn your backbone, the backbone of the app, right? So I need to came here and also do that. And there's a lot of cool things here. Another cool thing is that we can validate our search params, because in React Router apps, if you use like the use params, who can say, oh, I have the search by, you always need to verify if it's a string, because it could be a string array, and also if it exists. Using the loader in the validate search, you can validate before the route being processed if the search parameters are correct. So it's just using this validate search and so on. And last but not least, what happens if I want to create another route? So for example, if I create like a Porto .tsx up, sorry. Sorry. Delete this. If I create another route here, Porto.csx, it will generate the structure that I need to start to building the route. And as I said, if I want to mess with this, it will not live. And for the most curious person, the file is this one. This is CodeGen, and it's all generated every time you do a change. It's very cool. So yeah, let's go back to the extended. Okay. Great. Nice. It was really fun developing these apps, because I also wanted to try the 10-stack router and also the React Router v7, and sometimes in the work it's really hard to push this kind of